Well, hello. Every gal needs a cowboy hat.
Scanning the room, you look for a familiar face. Everyone is a stranger. Your heart's racing, you feel nauseous. New plan. You meet 4 new people. Okay, 3. 2? You can handle 2. And then you think, I hate this. This just feels so fake. And before you talk to even 1 new person, you're looking for the nearest exit.
Okay. Crazy. Yo, who invited this chick?
My heart races when I walk into a room full of strangers too. Except it's not anxiety, it's excitement. I'm not thinking networking quota. I'm thinking, look at all these stories. And I get so pumped about talking to people that I don't know.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Family. Hey. Okay, we are talking family today. And yes, as the intro said, stories are so important. And unfortunately, many manufacturers don't know how to both tell and share their story. That's where I come in. My name is Gail Robertson, and I am Chief Curiosity Officer at GailNow. And I use a 3-step process: sign up, suit up, and show up. And today we have some guests that definitely will be showing up, and we're going to be talking about great things that are happening in manufacturing. There's trade shows, there's trade publications, and how to leverage all types of content and social media, and really so many opportunities to tell stories. And the little added twist today is talking about family. So that's why I led off with we are family, because we have the power of family in manufacturing. So we're going to be hearing some stories about that. So without further ado, I want to welcome our guests. Before that, make sure to drop a comment and say hello, where you're from, and we'll be introducing some of the people from the comments after I bring my guests on stage. So first up, we have Madeline Kline. Hello, Madeline. Welcome.
Hi, Gail. Thank you so much.
No problem. And next up, we have another Kline in the family, another Gardner family, Allison Kline-Miller. So welcome to you both. We do have some people that are here. Let me go to comments. I see comments are starting to blow up. So let's start with that, and then we'll get into our discussion today. I knew we'd probably have some comments today. I think we'll have some guests stopping by. We have, so we have Janine Leslie Blurger. Well, hello, everyone. And Janine is the president of Canadian Association of Mold Makers, as well as Automate Canada. So we have Inger, happy hump day. Yes, Wednesday. And my show is here every Wednesday on hump day. Marcus Moldovan also comes out of the manufacturing world here in Windsor, Essex. So please also drop in, if you want to drop your company name or what you do, so we can make sure we connect you also with the right people in the comments. We have Leo Anthony. Greetings all. Now, I'm not sure, I don't know, Leo Anthony, if we know each other yet, but we might, so I'll have to check later. We have Rachel Freakin. Hello. So this sounds like someone that knows you. Yes. Hello,
Hi,
Rachel. Welcome. Oh, and here is the manufacturing unicorn himself, Ray Zaganto. Ray may be showing up at next week's trade show as well, so looking forward to that. Oh, we've got some more hellos to you. Arturo, hello, Allison, Madeline, and Gail. Hello, Arturo. James Kunkel, oh, hello, James, another fellow manufacturing contact here from social media. Oh, yeah, we have Tori Schneller. Hello, great topic. Hello, Tori, welcome. And we have Patricia Caldwell. Hi, all, watching from Gardner Business Media. Yay, Gardner people. Oh, my goodness, a lot of comments here. Okay, Allison and Madeline, this is like probably the most number of comments, I think, before we even get started the show. So you're popular. So we have Abigail Ho. Hello, Abigail. Oh, okay, Katie McDermott. I don't know if you've met her yet, but she is also a fun manufacturing person. Just wonderful, very fun. I don't know who this LinkedIn user is, so I'll have to swing back. Hi, ladies. And another Gardner friend, Dan Sweet is in the house. Hello, Dan. And from here, Mike Hicks is on the board with the Canadian Association of Mold Makers, does a great golf tournament every year too. And we have Jackie Webb. Also fantastic.
Thanks, Jackie.
There you go. It's all about the hair, right, ladies?
We got a lot of it on this.
Yes,
on
we
this
do.
call.
Yep. Okay, we have some more Gardner Business Media. So we will be getting to that. So I'm going to, as the comments come in, we'll come back to them. But welcome to everyone. This is exciting. As I mentioned, I got to really connect it in the whole Gardner world through Christina Fugis with Mold Making Technology. We were talking earlier about her energy. So a shout out to Christina because she is amazing when it comes to energy.
Absolutely amazing. Yes.
So let's start right out of the gate with the exciting news that is next week, PT Expo is starting. So Allison, why don't you talk about your title and give us a bit of a snapshot of this exciting trade show, because this is kind of a big deal for trade shows in the plastics world. So over to you.
Thanks, Gail, and thanks for having Madeline and I on today. We're excited about this opportunity. So PT Expo, it actually started moving in this morning. We have 12 of our big exhibitors that are moving in today, and it will continue on until next Tuesday when the show opens. So, we launched PT Expo less than a year ago. Actually, we started the launch of it last May. And it was really after research into the industry and talking with attendees and exhibitors, and there was just an obvious desire for a plastics processing event in the Midwest that was more often than once every 3 years with MPE. So that's why we launched it. It was definitely a demand from the market. And we very intentionally are going 2 years on, and then we'll skip NPE and have the Amerimold event, which is another Gardner event that we're really proud of. And then 2 years on, 1 year off. So we'll be on that cycle and have a really great partnership with the Plastics Industry Association, who will be at PT Expo and are supporting us in this event.
So Amerimold will still be happening.
Amerimold will be happening, on off PT Expo years. So that's our plan. We still feel like it's really important to connect that tool and die industry in a very unique way, and that industry is so fraternal, and we want to still provide that opportunity. So we have the Amerimold Pavilion at PT Expo, but it's a very different thing than the Amerimold kind of standalone event. So we do want to still provide that opportunity.
That is great. Well, let's talk about Amerimold, and over to you, Madeline, because a lot of this all started, I bumped into you and your dad, Rick, as I was going in one day, and I didn't know who your dad was. And I think I said something to the effect of, hey, you're a big deal. And so became our friendship.
Yeah, no, I remember it well. It was first thing in the morning. I know we took some pictures. Our publisher for plastics technology, Ryan Delahanty, was there. Yes. But it's been great being connected with you, and I'm really excited to be here and talk about Gardner and PT Expo. This is really exciting.
Well, let's talk a little. We've heard from Allison talking about the event. Now you were more in the sales side. So can you talk a little bit about your role and maybe a little bit about trade publications? Because we also were discussing pre-show about, people think, oh, print is dead and everything's digital. And my background, I came from a print world, but have transitioned into more digital social media. But I think there's room for what I call the pie. We want the whole pie, not just individual slices. So can you talk about your role in trade publications?
Yeah, absolutely. So I joined on board with Gardner in the summer of 2020. My background was in sales and account management. I was selling research, advisory services. So I really didn't have any experience selling advertising. But I remember I watched your chat with Christina and talking about, every industry, if you look closely enough, has trade publications and a huge industry around it and media supporting it. So I absolutely think print's an important piece of the pie. I'm personally a huge fan of print. I get magazines delivered to my house. I love a paper book. But it's been really great, working with advertisers and understanding their marketing campaigns and how we can leverage different types of mediums like social media and email, digital. I think print's a really important piece of that too.
Yeah, and that's great. And that you mentioned, because I did have Christina on a show previously, and we both come from where print was, that's all there was. But where I think the magic happens when you can marry the two of using print, using digital, using social, using trade shows, and then start bringing all of that together. And that's where it comes to where you were saying, Allison, maybe if you could just explain a little bit more about your role in the trade show, your official role and what you do. And let's put some context to trade shows, because PD Expo is like, this is a big item for Gardner to take this on because it's so massive. Why don't you talk a little bit about your role in trade shows and how out beyond PT Expo, what you've done in trade shows, and maybe some tips for people that are listening, because we have a range of people I know in the audience that are, from marketing, but some people from outside marketing. Can you talk about the value of trade shows?
Yeah, just real quick to piggyback what Madeline was just saying. We always describe print media as one of the few places where discovery can still happen, where you find something that, and I think trade shows would fall into that category too, where you find something that you weren't necessarily looking for, right? You may be perusing through the magazine and you discover something that's new, or a new innovation. That obviously we are super into content and the value of quality content. But our writers are writing about things that people are discovering but when you go online, you have to specifically look for topics. You have to already know about it, right? But in print medium, you discover things that you may not know. And I think trade shows are similar in that vein, where you're walking through the hall and you stumble upon a new product or service that might help your business. So back to me. So I'm the chief events officer at Gardner. And I actually studied at Ohio University, and I studied organizational communications and Spanish, but the Spanish was really because I wanted to study abroad. I studied in Mexico and I studied in Spain, and I just wanted to have that experience in college. But Orcom was very specific because I wanted to be part of our family business. So Gardner Business Media was established in 1928 with Modern Machine Shop magazine. I'm part of the fourth generation. Madeline's part of the fifth. So we're really proud to be part of a family business that's lasted that long, because so many of them fail in the second and third generations. And Madeline and two of her brothers are part of our fifth generation. So that's pretty exciting for us. Yeah.
That is, and you know what? I think now's a good time. I'm going to put this up because this is probably a good quote to reflect on, and then we can talk about this because this goes back to 1928. So let's put this up on the screen. We have Don Gardner, who said, "Time passes, conditions change, the world progresses, and those who are found keeping pace with the new order of things are those who are young enough in mind and spirit to recognize the value of the new and to make themselves a part of it."
Yeah, Gail, that quote was in the first Modern Machine Shop magazine that was ever published. And when we found that, it just resonated so much with our internal DNA as a company and who we are. We have it up on the wall in the lobby of our organization, and pretty much any major presentation that we put together, that quote's a part of it, because it really does embody who we are. So I love that you have that and brought that up. Thank you.
Well, when I saw it, it certainly did resonate, because everybody I've met connected with Amerimol, connected with PT Expo so far, is that there is that sense, even if they're not, Gardner DNA, they are like a Christine or Ryan, there is this sense of that you just have this culture of family. And a lot of times people talk about that, but I always say, are you walking the walk as well? So Madeline, as sort of the younger generation as well coming up, Can you talk a little bit about what that meant to you and being part of a family business? Because some people choose not to be part of a family business. So what made you decide you wanted to be part of this one?
I'm so happy to be working for my family's business, but honestly, it wasn't something that really crossed my mind or that I really knew I wanted to do necessarily. An opportunity presented itself to manage the East Coast territory. I was kind of at a point in my career at my previous company where I needed to make a decision if I was going to stay there, if I was going to interview, if I was going to stay kind of in like the tech world where I started my career. And when this opportunity came up, it's perfect. It's amazing to be supporting my family's business. It's an outside sales role, so I get to really meet my customers and get to know the industry. The people have just been so wonderful, and I love that quote. I think it's so relevant, and especially being in the plastics industry where there's so much innovation and change, being a part of that new order of things just feels like a really important part of being in the industry.
Yeah, and I just put up that there are currently members of the third, fourth, and fifth generation of Don Gardner's family actively working there, that is very powerful. You know, I just want to think about that a family business that can withstand the test of time too is quite remarkable, and that is quote really pointed to something that you're living today. One of the things, again, that I've noticed, and it started with Christina, is when I started seeing her on Twitter and doing videos and doing posts, and she's so jumped in there. She jumped in there and did it, and
she did.
That's how you have success. You have to be willing to take those risks. And I know there's people. We're going to head to the comments in a few minutes again, because I know there are people that there's a great quote from, and I'll see if he's in the comments. That David Pastulka taught me this one. You want to be the red M&M in the bowl of green, which means you want to stand out sometimes. And some people find that difficult to do. But when you show up, which is what I talk about, it's so powerful. And like I said, even bumping into you, Madeline, your dad, and talking to you and saying, hey, can I grab a selfie? And I used to get teased about selfies. Now I own my selfies because I have met people and then I post them later. And I mean, people they do love it. I've shown up at events and they go, oh, you're going to take a selfie? So I'm like, okay. So
it's hard though, Gail, to get out of your comfort zone, right? Like we've all got our things that we're used to and that we're conditioned to, and to break free. Like Ryan and I for PT Expo started doing these video updates, and that is not a comfort zone place for me. I was really uncomfortable when we first started doing it, and you get more and more accustomed to it. But I think it's such a great medium to talk about the show and talk about what we're doing, and quick, especially with COVID, that's really what it was born out of. There were so many questions about what changes were happening so fast, and the COVID mandates and restrictions were changing so fast that video was the most efficient way to get those messages across. But it's hard to get out of your comfort zone.
It is. And you met Inger recently. I know Inger's in the comments, and Inger hated video. Now she has a live show. She does video. She's and it has changed. I know she talks about that on her show. She does a weekly show about networking and how she's met incredible people through video. So and I know she's, I think, doing a video challenge. So anybody listening might want to go follow along. And Inger also does some LinkedIn coaching as well. So I
have to give a compliment to you too, Gail, because I feel like you do some things. Like I saw your "I'm So Excited" video where you were dancing and lip syncing, and it's great, right? Like, but that's something that's hard for most people to be brave enough to do, and you do it, and you do it well, and I think people respond to it. So I appreciate your willingness to kind of put yourself out there.
And, I also tell people I'm more at the extreme because I'm more comfortable with it. So I will do the TikToks and the videos, and you don't have to start there. So I tell you, like, don't feel you have to go out on that, because that's, that's my personality. And more I started, I used to sort of go, oh, I should be professional. And someone said, no, you should be you. So that's me. Because if you saw me with my friends when I'm out, like, if you meet me, it's not like I'm going to do one thing here, and then when you meet me, I'm different. Like, I'm pretty much the same wherever I am.
That's a good place to be.
Yeah. And I think that's Allison. I'm so glad you said that, because people need to hear that it isn't easy. and it takes sometimes, stepping out. And my son has even said that to me. He says, Mom, you're more Gen Z than I am, because I do more social media, I do more video, I do more TikTok. But he understands the algorithm and how TikTok works. So that's fascinating. He really gets that.
That's funny.
And yeah, I've done a workshop with him on that, and it's fascinating because
so cool.
Was he in the opening video? Was that your son?
He wasn't, but he created that opening video.
He did.
Me.
Okay.
Oh, really?
And when he created it, he came back. He says, "I don't know, Mom. It might be. I don't know if it's gonna be mean. I don't think." And I go, "Let me see it." I was laughing, right? Because I said, "No, that's like you can't poke fun at yourself, right?" So.
I thought it looked like a son eye roll. Like, who invited this?
He's actually a famous YouTuber, and his name just has escaped me at the moment. I can't believe it, but he's a
Cody Co.
Cody Co.
Okay.
Madeline knew.
Oh. No idea. My kids probably know, but I don't know.
I can't believe I'm watching the comments blow up. But you guys are so great. So we'll get everyone in the comments. I'm going to come back over there, but I do want to ask Madeline about social media, and because you being of the younger generation, but also I do recognize it's not everybody uses it in the same way. And how do you find watching social media? Obviously, if you know Cody Co, I know you must be on YouTube and using YouTube and are aware of the power of YouTube, because Cody Co is a YouTuber. So
yeah, I know his name. I'm not super familiar with his work, but I definitely recognize him. I don't know. Social media is so complicated because I'm definitely an observer. I think I probably could be a little bit more active. But I find that a lot of really interesting people and companies and businesses. I think LinkedIn's a really interesting social platform because, people are using it for their work, but there's also a lot of people writing like essays, and really it's just an interesting place to watch people kind of communicate. But yeah, I would say I'm more of an observer on social media. I'm trying to be more active. I'm definitely very thoughtful and considerate about what I put on social media because, it is so important to have a strong personal brand. And, but no, I love it. I think it's fun.
That's great. And, that is a really good point, because even on LinkedIn, I think there's said only it might have gone up, but 1% to 5% of people are posting. The rest of the people are lurking and watching. So if you think people aren't out there, they're watching. And I discovered that with TikTok early on, because people would say, I remember I was doing a meeting with someone, they said, I follow you on TikTok. And I was like, oh, because I kind of thought it was some hidden place. I'll just go over there and do some fun stuff. And then I realized, there's a lot of lurkers. So now, even though
Gail, I'm going to follow you on TikTok right after.
I just want to ask, what do you do on TikTok? Because I'm not into TikTok at all. I got to be honest. And so how are you using it, or are you using it professionally, or is that more personally?
To me, I don't have a big divide between my personal and professional. To me, it's like GailNow is who is my brand. So it's but I do have fun with it. I've done some lip syncs. I promoted the show today on that, where I just did a fun with a green screen. I've done a whole mix of things. So you can find me on TikTok. It's GailNow. You can find me pretty much everywhere as GailNow. And I just have fun. And sometimes I share things. Sometimes I've done dances. I've done trending dances. I'm probably going to be doing something at PT Expo, so stay tuned. I'm going to try. I'm going to launch a few things. I think try it on. And you know what? The thing is more and more, it's really important to take those risks and try things. Right? I've tried things on, even on my live show. Right? And that's the best way to learn. And sometimes oops, that was a mistake, or that didn't work. But you can't really do too much. Well, no, you can do some things wrong. You still have to use your common sense and things. So it does
live forever. It does live forever. So we do want to keep that in mind. And I will invite you the next time I have my son on, when I do my TikTok work, because I've done a couple of workshops with him and we've had some fun doing it. And he tells the story of the thirst trap. So anybody that's watched the show knows about my story about that. And his, we have a lot of fun. My son, he's 19, and he's definitely the joy of my life, and he's a great video editor. If he wasn't so busy, I'd have him editing more videos. So, okay, let's go over to comments, because last time I saw there's 23 comments. Some of them are chatter back and forth, so we won't go all through all of them. But we'll go to the studio audience now, and we have because I know I left off with Christina Harrington is in the house. So Christina, if you haven't met Allison and Madeline, please connect with them. Christina does a lot of work. I know we cross paths through the ERP world. And I tell you, I started in ERP networking
I'm still just learning what the heck that world is like. We did have Sarah Scudder on recently who talked all about plastics because she came out of packaging. And for anybody, you may want to go back and watch the show. I interviewed with her. She was phenomenal, explained plastics in a way that everybody could understand. And then, Katie's got wonderful group today. Must be awesome. Yes, they are. Now I know you know this next guest is Cynthia.
Hey, Cindy, how are you?
Love Cynthia. She's amazing. I'm doing some work with her. She's done some writing. Just amazing. She knows mold making too.
Yes, she does.
We have Bob Huff.
Hi, Bob.
Looks like someone maybe you know.
Yeah, Bob works for us.
Yeah, and then Cynthia says, "How are you?" We have so shout out to our customer DME who will be Christina. I will have to connect with you on that and make sure I check them out. So now that I know they're connected to you, we'll have to chat. Elizabeth is here local. Elizabeth is also the queen of networking. She does more local marketing here. She has Perco Marketing. Amazing person that knows how to use LinkedIn so well. And we have Christina. Hello, lovely ladies. Hello, Christina. Hi. We're waving to you. Great. Okay.
I watched your video with Christina. Was that 3 weeks ago?
It's about 3, yes. I think it
was really good.
We could have talked for hours. She's
great.
We have lots of chatter back and forth. Hello. Now we have, so Tori says such a great quote. So that was the Don Gardner quote. Yes. We have also Elizabeth Casson. Good afternoon. We have a shout out from Love Our Culture. I would guess that. So Marcus says, always a great experience working with Gardner Business Media. Been in a couple of times since over the years as exhibitor, and they were always able to accommodate. Yay, Marcus!
Thank you, Marcus.
Wonderful. Yes, he's. We have that. You always treat his customers well, and you have to be where your market spends their time. So this was when we were discussing about where to be at, and Ray definitely gets that. He's we'll have to all connect up and do a big group selfie when he shows up at PT Expo.
At PT Expo, we've got big 3D PT Expo letters in the lobby. That's our selfie station. So make sure you take some selfies in front of that and help us promote the show. Just for you, Gail. Just for you. We're going to call it Gail's Selfie Station.
Yeah, I can do some selfie lessons because a lot of people, I said, they'll come along to, I go, no, I got this. I said, my right arm though is I think going to be longer than the left one eventually because I'm just so used to, people go, how do you do that? I said, it takes a while. It takes some experience. It takes a lot of selfies. So we have a long quote here from Mike. So what do you say? Gardner views the industry as partners that have been very supportive to industry associations such as CAM, AMBA throughout the years. They have gone above and beyond for all their support of CAM numerous times. Used to do Euromold in Frankfurt, sending hard directories would cost CAM approximately $1,000. Gardner had a booth at the show with several of their publications. They shipped the CAM directories to their booth, no charge. I do know when I was working with the Marimold, doing work with Cavalier Tool, who's another great local company here that shows up. You guys were amazing. We needed to get I shouldn't be giving because maybe they won't do this with everybody, but because you were just very helpful. I'll just leave it at that.
Thank you.
You want to say, then everybody will be saying, hey, do that for us. Because I know it's very difficult, especially to get closer to a show. There's only so much you have. And yes, I think there'll be lots of this. Countdown to hugging you next week. We'll have definitely some of that. And Christina says, it's so hard to get out of your comfort zone. Yes, it is. But I want to refer back to Inger for anybody that wants to know how to get outside your comfort zone. She is a perfect example because when we first met, she hated video. And she did these video challenges where you had to do a video every day, 5 days. And she would say sometimes she'd take all day to work up to doing the video and posting it. So it's,
I just want to give a shout out to Mike too. He made that nice comment about Gardner, but to thank him, he brought to our attention just a few days ago that I'm sure you know, Gail, that Canada has lifted the need for the COVID test as of April 1st. So to all of our Canadian friends, if you want to come to PT Expo and stay through April 1st, there's no need to get tested to re-enter the country. So I appreciate Mike giving us the heads up about that so we can get the word out there.
he keeps on top of a lot of those things. And we are both on the board, as I said, of Canadian Association of Mold Makers. So that's where it's been such a great learning experience too, being on that show, or being on that board, because I'm sitting next to people that have all this wealth of information. So that's how I've really been inspired as well about this industry, because most people do not know, what happens behind the scenes, and all of our products that we use, phone covers, our all the products in our cars, our tubs of plastic, all of these things that are made from plastic. And we can get into that too another time, but the whole idea of, that's why I talked to Sarah about, it's really not an issue of plastic banning. It's an issue of proper recycling and, proper disposal. So,
well, that's exactly right, Gail. And PT Expo, we obviously we have a recycling component to that event, but the way that the plastics issue gets figured out is by industry and corporation. Like, it's not going to happen on its own, and that needs to be supported, not shut down, because plastics are not going to go away. It's too important to too many things. So it's a matter of working together to figure out a solution, not trying to. It's just impossible for plastics to go away. They just won't. So, and I think industry will be the one solving that challenge.
There's quite a few challenges out, and I know that is what the show will be talking about how, as an overall, and that's what I really find interesting about PT Expo, is that you're bringing everyone connected to the plastics world, which is a really key part of that show. It's it's niche in that it's plastics, but it's not super niche like a Marimold, right? It's got broader.
Yeah, it's the overall, all the plastics processing under one roof is the concept, and split into pavilions, so it's easy for attendees to find what they're looking for. But we'll be covering all parts of plastics processing.
Great. Get back to a few more comments, because this one goes back to what we were just saying, is leave comfort zone, enter growth zone. Thank you, Patricia. That is a definite great quote, because that's exactly what happens.
So Patty also works at Gardner, and when we're talking about a family business, it's not just the Kline family that's part of the family business. There have been a lot of marriages. Patty married her husband, who she met here at Gardner, and we've got a number of Gardner marriages over the years, but lots of people that have been referred, here through family members or of family members. So it really truly is a family business beyond just ownership.
Yeah,
that's great.
It really is.
What do we have here? Sarah says, oh, well, thank you, Sarah. You know what? Confidence, a lot of this comes with just practice. And a lot of people don't know, like I do keynote speaking. And actually, I have an upcoming one. We're going to be talking to women in aerospace group. And it is nerve-wracking sometimes doing that. But that's that. You build up that passion, and you have that energy. So I would say when people are nervous for it, I said, that's normal. You should actually, even before my shows, I get, because that's that nervous energy that helps you. So we have Elizabeth, who said, that's keeping true to yourself online and offline. Elizabeth is definitely an example of that. Oh, wait, who do we have next that's been listening in? Rick Kline Sr.
So Rick is my uncle and Madeline's grandfather.
Oh. Wow. Welcome, Rick. If you're still listening, hello.
Thank you.
Rick is our the third generation member who's still involved in our business. He's a chairman of our board, and still pops in the office and sits in on our executive team. And he's been in manufacturing, forever, and knows everybody. And it's great. We're lucky that we still have him around.
Will he be at PT Expo?
Do you know if he's coming, Madeline? I don't think he is.
I don't think he is either, but I'm glad he
Well, Rick, if you're listening and you can make it, let's do it. Let's try to do a selfie together.
Get a selfie.
I'll be looking for you. Okay,
That's
we
awesome.
have Denrich, who does a lot of work in the cybersecurity world. We've met also through networking through the ERP world. Let's see, we have some more. So we have Sarah says, how did you get your son to do? I need help. Get mine helping me. Yeah. That's a whole other story. He did it. It was like, you got to catch him in between other things, because my son is going to university. He works. He's in a play. He's, very busy. But he because I gave him free reign, I said, just do whatever you want. And I gave him a few ideas and he ran with it. So, which is what I like. So, Jackie Webb says, can't miss it. I think that must be, I'm not sure what we're referencing, but I know Jackie is through the Gardner World too, right?
The letters. She's probably talking about
the selfie station.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Okay,
I won't be able to miss it. And Jackie's been instrumental in PT Expo. She's managed the show for Gardner and done such an excellent job in keeping on top of everything. So shout out to Jackie. We appreciate all her hard work.
Thank you.
We'll have to have a whole big selfie at the PT Expo letters. So. Okay, now Stacy Dubin. Oh, thank you. Stacy, I met, he is with CVG, Commercial Vehicle Group, very large company. He is an amazing person as well when it comes to really understanding, how to show up. Wonderful person, great dad too. Told me stories about his daughter, very impressive. We have Tara, hi all. And then we have someone who's a LinkedIn, hello, late to the party, but excited for the rest of the session. I'm not sure who that was, so some people, they drop in, I don't know, somehow it works. We don't see the name. So, okay, let's circle back now to what else? We were going to talk about transferable skills. So maybe for each of you to talk about, and Madeline, this goes back to you because you went to school, you were in the tech world. So now, were you selling ever like products, or what were you, when you were in sales, what were you selling before? Because now you're selling you're selling space, right?
Yeah. So I was
selling space.
A lot of different things. But so my previous job, the company was called Gardner with a T.
Just to confuse everybody, right?
Oh my goodness.
But I was selling services. So it was access to research reports and advisory services. But the reason I took that job in the first place, there were a couple reasons, but they have really world-renowned sales training. I was in training for like 6 to 8 months, and I knew, no matter what, I'm going to walk away from this job into my next role with a lot of transferable skills. I'm going to understand the sales process and how to ask great questions and be a really good active listener. So, I mean, really, that sales training has been proven to be such a great transferable skill that I was excited to bring to Gardner. We've done a lot of expanding of our sales team, and it's great to collaborate with people that have different backgrounds and experience selling things other than advertising. And also people who have sold advertising in the past too, because it is a different approach. I love working with marketing and getting to understand what people's marketing objectives truly are and how we can support them through the solutions that we sell.
And thank you for that, because there is such a need to have that connection between marketing and sales, and not like, sometimes it's almost seemed like, I come out of a world too in the past where before I got into manufacturing, where sometimes marketing was brought in so late to the process, and then you're looking at, coming up with a logo or a tagline, and then we had to find out, oh, you want to put that in French now too? Wait a minute, you've already chosen this and it doesn't work. One example I love to give about translations is that I worked in insurance where they said early bird, right? The early bird insurance rate. But when you went to Quebec, there is no early, you can't do a direct translation for early bird. So we had to find another way to say that, but there isn't anything. And that I always use when I'm talking about translations, because people don't understand when you're coming up with witty ideas that's in one language, it doesn't always work in another language. So
yeah.
I'm sure learning Spanish, Allison, you learned about that, right? Too, the different meanings.
Well, there's different meanings, and there's also different dialects where words mean, in Spain, it means something different than it does in Mexico. So just, kind of being aware of what those things are, because it can get you into trouble if you're not careful.
That would be me.
I'll tell you a story about that, how I got into trouble another day. But yeah, studying Spanish was something, like I said, I really just wanted to do for the experience of studying abroad. And then in 2015, we actually launched Modern Machine Shop in Mexico. So that was one of those skills that, I think the point is that, life teaches you things throughout your life that then can be transferred. And maybe it's a language, or maybe it's something that you learned from an experience that, is transferable. But Yeah, so we launched Modern Machine Shop Mexico in 2015, and then started and Plastics Technology Mexico, and started doing events down there. So it's been really fun to to dip back in my brain and some of the Spanish that I learned all those years ago, and it's amazing how much of it is still there, even though I didn't use it for so many years. But that's been kind of fun.
It is like muscle memory, right? It's like it
Yeah.
does come back, and it is something you need to use to come back. And languages is that's all. I mean, there's so many fascinating parts about language and also travel. So Gardner, now you're based in the U.S. but now spend in Mexico. What's the sort of world footprint and global footprint, especially now with doing more digital? Can you maybe one or both of you talk about that?
Well, I mean, digital is, there's really no footprint digitally. We're everywhere. In terms of where we produce magazines, and we do that in the United States, and then in Mexico, we actually produce, write and print and distribute the magazines out of Mexico. But we have relationships with a lot of international associations and publishing groups where we have reach into those markets, but we aren't actively distributing into those markets.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure. Hey, maybe I'll do a show in Canada. Have you done a show in Canada?
We haven't done a show in Canada, but we have done a show in Novi, Michigan. We did a Maramold in Novi.
Okay. Yes.
And we actually worked with Cam on that, and have danced around different ways that we could work with Cam to bring more Canadian attendance into that event. But we haven't actually done a show in Mexico. We've produced shows in Canada. We've produced shows in Mexico and in the UK, but that's been it.
Well, let's put that on the radar. Show in Canada. That would be so fun.
Awesome.
We have Kim Tierra too from Ace Toronto. She's up in Toronto. She's our Toronto representative for camp. So I'm sure she could rally some troops up there. We have and now with the president for CAM and Automate Canada, as well as some of the work that's going on here. Never know, maybe it's an opportunity.
Never know.
And I know it's
Yeah.
you never know. Got it. I always say
we're always open to talk.
No. The answer's always no unless you ask, right? So might as well ask, right? So
we're always open to talk about new event ideas. It's definitely a growing part of our business and important.
Windsor, I think you should do it in Windsor here, because we are the hotbed here, and your US dollar would go further, so you could
It's a good point.
That's a really good.
It's like you'd have boots on the ground. I'm sure all the Cavalier people and Mike Hicks and if nothing else, you'll have to come up for the golf tournament. Mike's golf tournament.
Was the golf tournament? When is the golf tournament?
Let's see. The golf tournament, I think it said, if Mike's still listening, I'm hoping he's going to drop the date in there, because I'm thinking June. But
I was thinking it was June too.
June, yeah. If not, I'll try to go back and drop it in later. But it is, and then we always have the Tiki Hut. Kim Tierra and Ace, they do the Tiki Hut, which is always fun. One year it was fun. Margaritas, another year it was beer. So yeah, lots of fun.
Does he do it at the same place every year, or does he change golf courses?
I think it's been at the same place for the last couple of years that I've been involved in. Okay. While I do play golf, I have golf attire, golf clubs, and that, but I'm usually more. I like being on I'm like, okay, I'll do social media. So often I'm on the golf cart. And Elizabeth, I know she said Windsor would be a great destination host the next event. She would bring, I'm sure, her popcorn machine. She's known for bringing popcorn and doing great events. She would bring in some local people. And Elizabeth, you want to drop your one of your clients, I know, that is now a new member of CAM that works in, where we go. I'm going to get the, what's the term? Elizabeth, drop it in. I know she's listening, so she'll drop her company name. I'm trying to think, because it's not 3D. I think it's 3D printed. Yes. So that's, she'll probably drop some information about that, because she has, because of the work we've done together, she's also done work in the manufacturing world as well. So
Gail, are you involved in women in manufacturing?
I have sort of my hands in it, watching it, but not directly involved. But I think I may need to get more involved in that now.
Yeah. I know they're working with AMT, the Association for Manufacturing Technology, and doing some things around the IMTS show in September.
Okay.
Yeah, and we always do. We launched, gosh, maybe in 2006, I think was the first one. We started a girls' night out at IMTS, which was just a fun way. There's not very many of us in manufacturing, and these events. We did one at NPE as well. Just kind of a fun way to bring women together and let us do what we're really good at, which is networking and talking to each other and helping each other. So that's been a lot of fun.
And there's a lot more of us now when I think about it. Okay, both of you, plus we have Christina, and we have Cynthia, and we've got Jack. Like all those, look at all the women out here today. So I think we need to do something at PT Expo. We better pull something quickly together. Just
we'd have to pull together quickly, but we could figure something out.
Informal. It'll be an informal planning session. See,
there you go.
That's a great idea.
There's plenty of. The Rosemont Entertainment District in the last 5-10 years has exploded. There's tons of great restaurants and bars and fun things to do in Rosemont. So we could figure something out.
Well, I'm staying, I know, right through to I'm staying Thursday night. So maybe I know everybody, if you're not clear now, we'll maybe try to get together then with anybody that's staying over. But I know by the end of a trade show too, we might be ready for some Netflix. Yes. I find it's interesting when I do go, I've done a fair number of trade shows because I was in the insurance world in the past, and I love it. I love doing trade shows. There's but by the time you're done, there's usually not much left in the tank. I'm tapped out because it's just an exciting time. So I want to go back, just drop this in because Elizabeth says Replatech Corp. So that's local. So then we have Rick Brandt said golf and tiki lounge. I'm in. I know. Can't say no to that.
Rick is our publisher on our additive manufacturing composites brands, and Rick actually was Trump's golf pro. He worked at one of the Trump resorts and was the golf pro there. So he's got some fun stories.
Rick has great stories.
Rick has good stories. Yeah.
And Rick, okay, he's got him a big deal too. So Rick, I'll be connected with you too next. I just love, obviously you can tell I love stories, even if we can't always use them. My days as a reporter, I used to always say, everybody has a story. And often what happens is people say, oh, you probably know this, Madeline. I know Christina, I've talked with a lot of times. They go, I don't really have much to say. And then I spend some time with some of the manufacturers. I'm like, that's a fascinating family story. It's a fascinating story about a new piece of equipment. And they don't realize how valuable it is because they do it every day. They don't think it's important, but that's important.
Go ahead, Madeline.
I was going to say, Gail, I know something that you talk about a lot is curiosity. And I think, and I'm sure with your experience being a reporter too, having the ability to ask really great questions and the questions that people are excited to answer and talk about, you can learn so much. And
it's a good tool for sales too, right?
Absolutely. I think that there's just something about knowing how to ask great questions and be a really good listener is a great skill to have. And it's a hard skill to teach.
Yes, and it comes often with practice because curiosity helps you in other ways. So that's what I talk about, is that the more curious you are, then you learn, and then that's the sign up, suit up, show up, right? Because then it helps you show up. But it's not really encouraged. Unfortunately, curiosity kind of gets beaten out of us over time, because it's like, oh, you asked too many questions. Whereas that's why people like me, we're still around, we're still going to ask questions. And I always said, I've said this before. I said, I may not be everybody's cup of tea, but I could be your shot of tequila.
That's perfect. That's your personal tagline.
We have Rick Britt said, that might have been a secret. Okay, Rick, it's just between
It's a really bad secret. If that's a secret, Rick, you've done a really bad job.
I think it was tongue in cheek, so we'll do that.
I know.
We have Mike said June 5th, Gardner sponsors registration table through Jackie D, always at Fox Glen, but under new ownerships who will monitor closely, they will do the usual great job. So June 5th. Wow, that's
June 5th.
That's like in advertising sales world, Mel, am I right? That's like now, right? You're planning already.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. That's now.
No, absolutely.
I worked in, because I've worked in journalism and I worked in marketing, I worked in fundraising. I always said, I'm always and it's like if you work in retail, you're always at the next season, right? Like right now, people are already planning, fall weather, fall clothes. And then we have great observation, do what we do best. Exactly. Yeah, we have Mike says, Rick will be your next guest. And then Ray says, gotta run, look forward to seeing you at PTS. But yes,
Yeah, sounds good.
Yay.
he is amazing. And then we have curiosity is key. Yes, Inger, very true. And then we have knock knock, who's there? I'll ask the question. Mike's one of those people that I only have recently come to see his sense of humor, because he kind of got me on something at the last golf tournament, told me to go take a photo of this motorcycle. Anyways, I won't get into the whole story, but then someone came out and they were like, no, he's pulling your leg. And I'm like, Mike, he was so serious. So now I know, he's pulling my leg now on that.
He did that. So. He did that to me earlier today. I won't get into the story, but he's good at that.
He is good. Because he looks so like just like wouldn't be doing that, but he does. He's he makes it interesting. Well, oh my God, I look at the time, so we're going to start to wrap up because wow, we have covered a lot of ground here today. I want to thank you both for being amazing guests, sharing great content about the inside world of Gardner Media, but also getting ready for the trade show. And I do want to put a couple of other photos up because talking about family, so we have family is not an important thing, it is everything. And these are some photos from your website that we're sharing. So you can see you do lots of activities. It's very cool. And food.
Gail, the one in the bottom there, the guy dressed as Aquaman, that would be my brother. So just want to shout out to Don for that.
Okay. Hello. And then we have, again, this is a photo. So you said this looked like a sales meeting. It looks like somewhere.
It was a sales incentive meeting. Yeah. So it's not just family there. There's a number of family members there, but it was a sales incentive trip. So the salespeople who qualified for the trip were there.
Now, is this in some sunny destination too? That looks like.
It's hard to tell. Yeah. I think that one's in California.
That's pretty warm too, and I see some wine there, so that looks like everybody's having some fun.
Heck yeah!
Gotta have fun.
That's right.
Yes, it is, and that's also while we work hard at trade shows. There's also a lot of fun.
That's why we do them, right? It's because there's the you can't beat the organic networking that happens when you're just stumbling to go get a cup of coffee and you run into somebody and you have a great conversation. Like you can't recreate that. We tried virtual events. Everybody tried them during COVID, and if we proved anything, it's that you can't recreate live trade shows. There's just something. No. Yeah, there's just some things that you can't do virtually, but they're fun. I mean, events are fun. It's fun to see your friends and go to restaurants and bars and hang out with people that you haven't seen for a while. Because once you've been in this industry for long enough, these people have become friends, right? They're friends outside of work, and yeah, I've missed live events. We had a number of them this fall, but I feel like PT Expo is like we're finally back to normal, right? Or whatever this new normal looks like. So it's exciting.
We are going to have to find ways to work within this, and that's again a whole other story too about how can we do that and how can we, also I always like to get my plug in, take care of our health, take care of our immune system, make sure we're doing as much as possible to be healthy, get rest and drink water while you're on the trade show. Make sure you have your water bottle too handy, because that's important too, making sure because you got to balance out the unhealthy stuff you might be doing to eating and stuff, but you can try to prepare. It's almost like I'm in training this week. Got to eat healthy, drink water, get my cycling in.
Get ready.
So
yeah.
I do go to the gym in the morning. I try most mornings to get, even if it's a short trip, because I just feel better if I need to go, even if I do some yoga, something that's for me. That's what works. It's and to wrap up, I think we have everybody else just doing some chattering there. So one of the things I like to ask about is, how do you exercise your curious mind? Because do talk about curiosity. And so just an example for me, I listen to podcasts. I listen to Hidden Brain podcast, which is one of my favorite. And I save it usually sometimes for my cycle rides, or I save it for a time when I, exercising or something, because it's fascinating. It's all about how different, how our brain works, how we see things. So that's part of what I listen to podcasts as my exercise for my curious brain. So Allison, why don't we start with you? What is something you do for your curious brain?
Well, I like podcasts as well. I've actually just kind of recently started to get into them, and like you, I save them for when I'm exercising. If I'm walking or running, putting in a podcast it's a great time to do that. But I would say more than anything else, travel. I travel a lot for my job, less personally now that I've got, kids. But I just every time I travel, especially for a business trip, I find something that I didn't like we were talking about earlier with discovery. I find something that I wasn't necessarily looking for, but is a good takeaway. So I always say never say no, right? Like if there's an opportunity to do something, at least try it. And I feel like that with travel too. I've had business trips over the years where I'm like, is this necessary? Is this something that I have to be doing? But every single time something comes out of it that's valuable for me, valuable for our business. And, to your point, just kind of exercises that curiosity. So for me, I would say travel.
Yeah, you know what? I love that too. Travel, meeting new people, and especially I
Mhm.
traveled a lot on my own, and that's where I meet. I have the best stories. Sometimes I love traveling with friends, but sometimes traveling alone, I like just because you don't have someone to talk to. So what happens is, hello, you're there. I'll talk to you.
Yeah, you meet someone else.
You
We
meet
met a
someone
woman
else.
who was young. She was maybe 23, 24 when my husband and I were on a vacation recently, and she was at the resort by herself, just hanging out, and she was having the most fun, like, had met so many people, and I was so impressed with her to kind of take that risk and do that on her own, but I think that's
Yeah.
awesome. Good for you.
I've been traveling solo since right out, I think just after either first or second year university, and have never looked back. And
Wow.
some of my friends and family went like, they were all
Yeah.
worried because this was before cell phone. Like I could have disappeared. Like like I often think some of the things like
Yeah.
yeah. Thank God I
Uh-huh.
have a son, not a daughter, too. Like things I would often say if I had a daughter, I'd be like, you're not doing that. But my son, yeah. So
Yeah,
okay.
I've made questionable decisions traveling as well over the years that I look back on, I'm like, if my kid did
Yeah.
that.
I just because it's like you don't have sometimes to at a younger age, you just don't have the same fear. Like, I'll go do that, right? It's like
Sure. Yeah,
now I have a little more calculated. Plus, having children has also changed your perspective on things that
sure.
people do. You're like, I got to show up back
Absolutely.
home.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. You got other people to think about.
you gotta, yeah. Madeline, for you, for Curious Brain
Those
exercise.
I really liked both of your answers. I love podcasts too. I really like the How I Built This podcast. There's some really great stories about entrepreneurs and how businesses that you see and use every day got started. Um, and I think travel is great too. I've just recently in the sales role started traveling on my own more, which has been a ton of fun. Just getting to know people at the airport and getting to really be with people in person is just so nice and refreshing. Since I started this job during the pandemic,
Yeah.
but I'm also a really big reader. I love reading kind of professional development books, but I also love like mystery books that have. I find that there's a lot of curiosity that goes into it. It always makes me want to keep reading and flipping the pages because anything could happen, and it just gets me thinking, and it's fun.
When I go on a resort trip, I always like to take my mystery books too. I like
Mhm.
the especially like police fiction, which it's weird because that's not something I would normally like. It's not
Yeah.
if you even shows I watch, but I will recommend a really great writer. He's Canadian. I went to
Okay.
university with him. His name is Rick Mofina, Mofina, and he writes a lot of. He was a police reporter, so that's the other thing. His background is in journalism, and he does these stories about people who disappear, kids, and it's all written in because I don't like the cheesy stuff. I like really well done police, like that. It sounds legit. So his books are amazing. I'd recommend those because
Cool.
I used to read a lot of like John Grisham is good, like quick fair to read it. But I think I've read most of his books as well. So those are the things I like to do on that trip. And I like an actual book. I've tried the
Yeah.
Kindle and no, no, like you're on
I have a Kindle, and like if I'm going for a long trip where I'm worried I'm gonna run out of the book, you know what I
yes,
mean? I'll
yeah,
take the Kindle, but I'm with you. I like
Yeah.
and I like going to the library because it's
Yeah.
like it's like there's no real commitment. Like you can check it out. If you don't love it, you take it back. And then I don't have to find a place for it in my house. I just take it back to the library.
Bookstores too. I always love like the Hudson News at the airport. I'm always curious to see what books they have on display there. In different cities.
Yes, that is good. And I do want to give a shout out. Libraries, we need to support libraries. I used to take my son, I'd always say, library books, we get the books that you're going to like read once, but then we get like the ones I'd buy would be like Guinness Book of World Records or those types of books that he would keep. You know, those were different, but for one-time reading. And he was a voracious reader. And he also, I took him to those little circle readings, you know, where you get together. So yeah.
That's awesome.
Well, thank you both. I'll see you both next week.
I leave tomorrow morning, so Ryan and I are going to do our last PT Expo update live from the show floor tomorrow. So there'll be some video of what's actually going on that'll be coming out here soon.
I don't know if you hear my cat in the background. She's saying hello too. She's 18, and it's funny. She's just come up. She has a little cat bed in my office, so sometimes when I'm on a show like this, she just decides to come in and she decides.
I feel like I learned through COVID how many people have cats. Like I feel like there's so many cats.
There's a lot of cats in this room.
Yeah.
She's kind of part of a lot of my shows, and of course she'll pop in like this. And I used to so instead of ignoring people, say, "What's that noise?" So that's Pippi girl. All right. Well, thank you both. We will be seeing each other next week, and everybody stay tuned. I'm going to be doing some live feeds from the show. I'm going to be doing some TikToks, I'm sure. I'm not really sure. Like I have lots of ideas, so we'll throw out some things and maybe have you come in. And Allison, I think I see a TikTok for us in our future.
Ooh, can we have wine before we do the TikTok?
Yeah, we can just follow my lead. We'll be fine. You'll be fine.
Well, Gail, we appreciate all of your efforts in helping us produce and put on and market this event. You've been a wonderful member of our first champion circle, so we appreciate everything that you've done.
Well, thank you. You're a great team to work with. If you have time, I'll meet you back in the green room, but I know if you do have to sign off, that's okay too. If not, I'll see you back in the green room for a few minutes, but I'm just going to do my final sign off, and then I'll see you in there.
Sounds
okay.
Good.
Thanks, Gail.
Thank you so much.
See you next week.
Yeah. Wow. Well, that was quite an exciting show with these two wonderful people that are connected to this PT Expo as well as Gardner Business Media. So I encourage everybody, thanks everybody for the comments. They just were blowing up today, and so exciting to, share the value of family, that culture, the sense of family culture, even if you're not like blood, that you are family by, joining together with common values. And that's one of the things that I've really noticed about Gardner Business Media, as well as the work I've been doing with everybody connected to that, is a common value. If you want to reach out to me, you can find me here on LinkedIn or pretty much everywhere else as GailNow. And again, I help manufacturers tell their story. So through a strategic approach of sign up, suit up, and show up, I help manufacturers both tell and share their stories and use all of these options available, and how you can start connecting the dots between trade shows, trade publications, and also how to use social media and maybe get out of your comfort zone into your growth zone, because that is where the magic happens. Okay, signing off. See you next week, and we'll be live from PT Expo in Chicago. See you, everyone.